I don't care anymore. Okay, you are listening to an episode of Transparency and Merit with Joe and Brian. Brian, what's our topic tonight? I already forgot.
Well, Joe, this is a topic that is extraordinarily inflammatory, and it is Rubin and Tom Metzger. These were two firebrands, Joe. They were on the Wally George show together. I don't know if they were on the Morton Downey Jr. show together. I think Tom Metzger was. I don't know if Rubin was, but these were two firebrand individuals who believed strongly in their cause and what they believed in. And when those two met, they were fireworks were abound, Joe. And this was a time when television.
I can't help myself. I've just showed some of them.
Yeah.
Because Wally George is just something special.
He had a toupee at this time. He was bald.
Race and Reason. Race and Reason, a show dedicated to...
Wait, you're talking about Wally?
Tom Metzger. Well, maybe, you know what I mean? Wally George was also accused of having a mop for his head.
Freedom of speech. Total free speech.
You remember what?
I remember when he was on KROQ, too, and he was with his wife, his young wife, and they said, how can you be with such an old man who has a mop for a head? And he said, how can anyone be with you, you pimple-faced moron? But let's continue on with this.
Sea of controlled and managed news. And now I go to my co-host, Tom Paget, who will introduce our guest for the day. Tom, what do we have?
Tom, you're not going to believe who we have on the show today. We have an individual who you've been on his show 5 times and stomped him 5 times. Ha! And you've issued a challenge for him to show up on our show. Well,
Nobody stomps me.
He's been delaying for a long time. Finally, he's worked up the nerve to come on. Take a look at him. For those of you who know him, no introduction is necessary. For those of you who don't, this gentleman calls himself Wally George.
Wally George on our show.
The host of the controversial TV show, The Hot Seat.
He finally accepted my challenge.
Now, first of all, let me explain.
What did you say? Hold on.
No, I didn't.
You're on our hot seat.
Let me explain to your fans
It sounded like you.
out there, Tom.
Yes.
Both of your fans
Yes.
who might be watching. Let me explain first of all. I am not here because I agree with this dimwit. I am here as a conservative to tell you that all people are not nitwits like these Nazi perverts.
Conservative.
The real conservative is for Ronald Reagan and decency and morality,
come on now.
and we are against racism. We believe that all men and women are created equal. All races, all colors, all creeds are equal.
As long as you
And
can
this
make
guy-
lots of money.
And this
As
guy,
long
and
as you
his,
can.
wait, this guy,
As long
and
as
his sicko Ed McMahon, they belong in the
Hey, this is
slapper.
my show. Now look.
What
as
kind of
long-
a show is
As
it?
long as you can make money. You conservatives, you love it. You don't want to go down to El Salvador You want to drop bombs on Nicaragua and everything
That's
else.
right.
No, he
That's the
doesn't.
concern.
He doesn't want to go fight
he
us.
wouldn't do that. He wants you guys to.
That's
No,
right.
you're too old too. Huh?
No, but the whole thing I can't understand is why in the world are you guys on the air to begin with?
Where do you find that audience if you got over there at KDOC?
What about the First Amendment, sicko?
Where do you
don't
find?
call me sicko,
Hey,
you
no,
pervert.
this is our
You get them
show.
out of a zoo.
My audience are made up of mainly young college students who are gung-ho Ronald Reagan Americans. there's a lot different than you are, Metzger.
You must have to pay these kids to take that.
Hey.
Why would any young kid be for Ronald Reagan?
Because
considering the draft coming up and all that
There's
kind of
not going
stuff.
to be a draft because they realize that Ronald Reagan stands for morality and decency and dignity, and Ronald Reagan wants to kick racists like you out of the country.
Of course he would, but he can't do that. He's going to have to deal with us. We're here.
See,
We're all
you
over
had-
the place.
You had the audacity to come. He had the audacity to come on my show, on my great program,
Yes.
Hot Seat,
Yes.
and say that Campanis of the LA Dodgers was right.
Absolutely. Total free speech. And if Al Campanis feels that way as a free white American, he has every right to say it.
And
you
you
disagree
feel
with that, huh?
and you feel, and you guys are, and first of all, what are those jerks doing over there?
This is our security.
He's a proud free white
You have
man.
your security. We have our
And I'm
security.
sure that these guys are as disgusted with you as we are.
Well, I hope so.
There's
I
one
hope
point
so.
we forgot to make the other night when Al Campanis said about blacks aren't as buoyant as whites, right? Remember that?
I remember
that?
I remember it. Don't point your finger
Well,
at
I'll
me.
tell you, you know what? I agree on that too, but it depends on whether it's a black person swimming in Louisiana or in Chicago, how buoyant they are. Because
What's
I've
the
heard
difference?
sometimes they put things on them down there and they get a little heavier.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's right.
Now let me tell you, what really bothers me.
Well, looks like we have a phone call. Yes, you're on with Brian and Joe.
What is today's bitch fest about?
Well, tonight we have a special episode of Irv Rubin and Tom Metzger. These are Brian's fantastic plan for tonight. Brian, what was on your mind with these guys? You might be muted. I can't hear you.
But it was about a month ago that Tom Metzger had died. And I'm a TV nut back in those days. I used to watch both Tom Metzger and Irv Rubin. These were, anytime they were on, I would just sit glued to my screen. And these people were very interesting individuals. I didn't agree with any of them. I mean, I probably agreed with Irv Rubin more than Tom Metzger because I am somewhat of a Zionist. But either way, it was interesting television, and this was a time when TV put on controversial characters, and YouTube was filling that void, but YouTube became very censorious, and basically right now, the mainstream media doesn't want to have this kind of thing on. So I'm just kind of a flashback.
What kind of thing are you talking about? You have just gone on for 3 minutes, and I don't know
Listen to
anything.
me. You listen to me. You listen to me. I just told you what I thought. And now you're putting it down, you moron.
Well, to be fair, half of those 3 minutes he had himself on mute and didn't know it.
Yeah. So, but I'm.
These people. Who are these people? What do they believe in? I don't know anything about them.
All right. Well, if you now you can be quiet now. So I'll start. Shut up. Shut your face. Shut your mouth. All right. Tom Metzger was of German descent, and he joined the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, and then he was also a neo-Nazi and part of the White Aryan Resistance. I believe he might have been a Grand. No, he wasn't a Grand Dragon like David Duke. And one of the things he was famous for, he had a video game of where you were at the border and you were shooting border crossers, and they had little sombreros. But I don't know why
Yeah, it suddenly has a vivid memory recollection. Unbelievable.
Well, I just remember. I just remember. I don't know where I found that, but it was just kind of interesting. And then Irv Rubin, he was part of the JDL, the Jewish Defense League, and he was
in the right corner.
In 1978. He
Blue and white.
He actually paid $500 to anyone that would maim or hurt a neo-Nazi. And
a lot more information we just got.
Well, thank you very much. Now, were you
fucking wasting 4 minutes telling me nothing?
Listen to me, Howard. Were you once part of the JDL? Did you know I think you met. You said you met Mayor Kahan or Meyer Kahani. Is it? I don't know how to.
I knew some people who were deep in the JDL.
Well, they were certainly some things I agreed with them on. Other things I didn't. They were rather aggressive, but they did stand their own. And I don't think these riots would have been happening the way they have been if the JDL had been around. But both men are now dead. Irv Rubin died November 2002 while he was imprisoned. Rubin cut his own throat and jumped off an 18 to 20 foot balcony. He had been threatening suicide in days before. The injuries from the failed result in his death at Los Angeles General Hospital several days later resulted in his death. Some consider the circumstances surrounding his death to be suspicious, and Irv Rubin's wife demanded an investigation, but defense attorney Mark Worksman said Rubin had been despondent for months, losing 40 pounds, and the pressure of the upcoming trial may have pushed him over the top. The Rubin...
let me ask you a question. If you lost 40 pounds, would you be despondent?
I would be very happy, but Irv Rubin wasn't... Irv Rubin, I mean, even though he might have had a bit of a gut, he was not obese like me. So, yeah. Now, one of the more interesting, and I don't know if you can find it, but when Irv Rubin talked to now he actually was planning to bomb the King Fahad Mosque in Culver City, and he had plans on Representative Darrell Issa, who is of Lebanese and Czech descent. Although I never knew that Darrell Issa was friendly to the Palestinians. But I could be wrong on that.
So, did you go to this mosque?
My father had actually done work for the King Fahad Mosque, and he knew the people in there, so he knew a little bit about them. And
I'm sorry, your father was in the movie business. What kind of work did he do for the King Fahad Center?
Well, he never did any work. He never did any work for them, but there were talks of them doing advertising with my father's production company that he ran at for the King Fahad Mosque. So we had information on the King Fahad Mosque, and my father had taken a tour. I was not present when he did that, but yeah. And then this was, I don't know if this was pre 9/11, and then after 9/11, and the threats on the King Fahad Mosque, it kind of any advertising just went the wayside.
I see. So your father was a secret Muslim?
When did I say that? I said he was asked to do advertising.
That was
and shoot a commercial. There were talks of him shooting a commercial for the King Fahad mask, and also when Joe and I we were doing a midnight movie. Hold on, let me finish. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me.
The Palestinians.
All right, listen to me. All right. Well, I was going to mention, Joe and I had both visited the King Fahad Mosque, and we had shot. We did a photo shoot there, but my father said, because we were doing a midnight movie, and we were, me and Joe were both reading, pretending to read the King Fahad paper with Angry Guy from Detroit. I was Mr. Midnight Movie. Joe was Jewish producer, and we took a picture of ourselves.
I gotta find that. That's a great picture.
Yeah, and we were at the King Fahad Mosque, and so we're both somewhat familiar with that place, and actually, Angry Guy from Detroit just wanted us to shoot the Home Depot, but I had recommended it might be kind of funny to shoot us in front of the King Fahad Mosque.
Yes, but we did both.
But my father, I wanted to use that as an advertisement for our thing, but my father didn't think it was funny.
Damn it. God, he ruined us.
Yeah, no, it was.
He didn't take that picture, and he also didn't let us use Fandango.
Yeah. Well, the Fandango thing was the worst, and what my cousin did also, like he didn't want because I thought his fat Fagala routine was pretty funny, but he didn't want to put it on. And I learned later he didn't want to put it on YouTube, which I just
Why not?
He didn't want to be known as that. I mean, I don't know why, but he didn't want to be known.
The character name was Fat Fagala.
Yeah, actually, I'll just say the word. Can I say the word, or he was known as Fat Faggot, and yeah. Now I want to say one of the interesting shows that I remember was when Stephen Coakley and Irv Rubin were on. That was really kind of and those two firebrands. I don't know if Steve Coakley is still alive, but he was a nutbag.
I see. So I have no idea what you're talking about now.
Well, Steve Coakley believed that AIDS was implanted in my. Damn it. My YouTube is not working properly, so I gotta go. Oh, here it goes. Yeah, it's Steve.
YouTube to work properly. Does your brain properly?
No, it doesn't. Joe, I'm going to post this video. This is of Irv Rubin and Mr. Coakley. Ooh, what am I doing here? Oops. I don't know. I'll give it to you in private chat, and I'll also give it to you on Discord. See if you want to run that real quick.
Oh, yeah. Good thing you include everything in Discord. That's good.
Well, that's fine. It's jeez.
Did you post it? I'm waiting.
Yes, I did. I posted it in private chat. I don't know if you can click on it though.
I didn't get to. I don't have a private chat going with you that has that.
By the way, this is riveting radio.
No, it's terrible. You're born. Just go on. I'll find it. Just talk about something.
I am transfixed by this repartee.
Yes, the inner workings of hell. Oh, here it is. The private chat on. See, never mind. I got it. All right. Copy this.
Just so you know, and I'm sure Darren will be very concerned, but I am cooking up another steak.
I cooked up some crazy T-bones tonight. It was great.
And this is about 4 minutes. of Irv Rubin and Stokely. And
Don't play a video. Nobody wants to hear a video. Why don't you talk about what's said in the video?
Listen to the video. Shut your face and listen to the video.
What's going on here? And it's got nothing to do with white racism. We have black kids killing black kids over cocaine, over
Hold
other
on a
kinds
second.
of
Pause
drugs,
that.
paraphernalia. Why isn't he here?
All right.
How about a little radio setup as to what it is
He
that we're
can't
listening
do
to?
it.
Instead
He's
of just turning on some fucking random video.
explain it. What is it?
Hold
What
on.
are we gonna watch? What's
This
Steve
right
Coakley
now?
and Irving Rubin?
This is Irv Rubin and Steve Coakley. And Steve Coakley had a controversial thing out there saying that AIDS was created by
This was so controversial it got 271 views. on
there we
YouTube.
go. Well, that AIDS was created by to kill the black community. It was created, I believe he said, Coakley was criticized for teaching that Jewish doctors were using the AIDS virus in an attempt to genocide Africans. And he was on with the controversial Irv Rubin. So let us play it now. I want to play it from the beginning here.
We have black kids killing black kids over cocaine, over other kinds of dope and paraphernalia. Why isn't he here? Why isn't his Farrakhan fellow here trying to stop the black on black carnage that's going on in this nation? Black raving gangs traveling throughout this nation, killing other black people.
All right, Mr. Coakley, answer him. Well, since you gave him the privilege to ask a question, and I then will expect the same privilege subsequent to that, I think it's very clear that black on black crime and other syndromes in the black community are what black people do when they don't understand who the enemy is. Part of the problem with the tapes that were heard by those who played them was that in those tapes were names of very prominent people. It talked about the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberger Group. It talked about those things. It talked about, no, we're not that immature. I don't believe in the word conspiracy. As a researcher, it's my job to present the best evidence. I think that the best evidence is what should go forward, and that you all ought to grow up enough to be able to dialogue with blacks who have legitimate concerns, who just so happen may have been trained by you, who understand your pathologies well, and who would expect you to step up for the dialogue rather than to continue to stoop down. I think Irvin is a stooper. Now, Irvin, I'd like to ask you, what positive contribution have you made in the last 20 years of your life to have added something to this problem of black-Jewish relationships, rather than to be the manipulator that you are? Obviously, you're not on the show for any positive contribution.
Well, I'll tell you,
just what is your game?
I'll tell you exactly what I did. And perhaps I'm foolish for it now because I realize where you're coming from. I went down south to Forsyth County, Georgia, and I marched with about 25,000 beautiful people, both black and white. Thank God you weren't there, because my stomach would have turned and I would have had to throw up all over you.
If you don't know that I wasn't there.
Well, I didn't see you, and thank God I didn't. Because if I hadn't done anything in the last 20 years except stand up to animals like you, then there's a place in heaven for me.
Well, see, what's the problem with the black-Jewish relationships across the country now?
You're the problem.
You are the problem. That there has been no violence on the part of blacks towards whites, probably even though there's reason for some violence. And I think by exacerbating the racial tensions,
what do you got against
I hope that you all know, Pat and Mr. Braden, that on the national level in Congress, there's an attempt to pass anti-group defamation laws. In fact, Newsweek on June 6th did an article about it, where out of Hofstra University has come the desire to outlaw racial slurs. And those people that were alluded to in the article said that they were going to spend this summer setting the climate to make it possible to outlaw racial slurs and make a gentleman like myself a criminal, though I've never been arrested in my life.
Well,
so it appears as if we're being used to set the climate in America.
Mr. Coakley, what gestures have you made toward racial understanding and equality?
Well, first, it should be said that during the time that I was in the mayor's office, not one single person accused me of abusing the power that I had within my control. In fact, it strikes me as strange. The Jewish Federation in Chicago used to pass confidential documents to me to take to the mayor prior to anyone even seeing them. That surely doesn't sound like a person who was mistrusted. And I could tell you that in Chicago, we're coming forward with blacks who really represent the black community and disregarding those blacks chosen by Jews for these dialogues and relation sections. We're coming forward with some real leadership. We're coming out to propose a research project where we can go back to the beginning of time and trace the relationships between blacks and Jews to assess just where this problem started. It didn't start in the civil rights movement. It didn't start in the early 1900s when they started the NAACP and the Urban League. It started back in the beginning of time. And unless we have this study, we won't resolve the conflict.
You know, I'd like to say it started with people like Jesse Jackson and people like Coleman Young and people like this fellow, Mr. Coakley. People who are jealous of Jews. The reason.
What am I learning from this? What is the point of this conversation?
All right. Listen to me.
He's proving that Coakley's point was reigns supreme. Go on.
But here's the deal. So we have a person on here by the name of Howard. We won't go into his last name. He's also known as the One Angry Jew. And he has, this man, by the way, has antagonized or had conflict with the black militants, the BLMs.
By the way, my power just went out, so I'm about to lose connection.
Oh, haven't you? The power went out? Oh, Jesus. All right.
So
the
you're gonna
power
have to
has gone out.
run it from here.
So, oh shit. So he may not be around. So the power's gone out. Oh, so did you have to hang up on Howard because of that? Are you facing a rolling blackout, Joey? We are facing technical difficulties. So there have been technical difficulties as we speak. These are the things that happen on a podcast. The power did go out. We have been throughout California. We have been experiencing blackouts. So I'm going to say a few things upon this show. I remember Irv Rubin and Tom Metzger meeting each other and going into having physical altercations. And I didn't agree with either one of them, but this was when the news media was a little bit, or the mainstream media was a little bit more brave and perhaps even a little bit more open-minded and would have people on of all kinds of different persuasions and different thought. Something I don't think the news media does as much today. They are far more activist-like than they are actual journalists. And but you know what? I mean, the mainstream. I mean, there is no place for a person like Tom Metzger today. I mean, he's just thrown out. And if you're any side of conservative and you go against the radical left, you will be, or the likelihood of you being punished is very great. And if you're a part of the JDL was defunct a while ago. So you cannot show you can't even defend it seems like almost you can't even defend yourself. Antifa and BLM are allowed to be aggressive. And when the Proud Boys defend themselves, they are considered the victimizers. And sometimes I think lately they have been initiating force, but usually it's been BLM and Antifa that have been initiating force, and often 9 times out of 10 it is the left initiating force. And that is the one thing that angers me personally the most, is that the left feels that they have the right to initiate force with people they ideologically disagree with. They have the right to blacklist, economically cripple those they ideologically disagree with, and their reach goes very far. It's not just Nazis and Klansmen they're doing this to. It's anybody that is is not part of the left and who speaks out openly against them. They are vindictive and they are cruel. That is just my opinion. Hey, this is Brian with Transparency and Merit. Like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Hey, we did have to cut it short, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Joe's computer started running out low, and Howard came in to give me a hard time, but that's all good. The show probably wasn't the best, and you may not find it interesting, but you know what? I mean, I try to make it interesting. Joe thought it was boring, and I think so did Howard. But you know what? That's the way the cookies crumble. Thanks for listening. Like and leave a comment down below. Thank you.